Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Deep Ogre review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the Fox movie Target exclusive, I believe, 2-pack of the Marvel Legends movie Deadpool and Nega Sonic Teenage Warhead. Obviously, this is from the second movie, not the first, because, as you can tell, because Negasonic Get Up is from the second movie, and you can't really tell with Deadpool, so you could use this as a first movie, second movie, whatever you want to use it as. Honestly, these figures are really, really great. I'll get into more detail about that later on this video, so let's just take a look at their accessories and then at Negasonic. What? You're looking at nothing. Oh wait, now you're not. You're looking at a shit ton of accessories because of Deadpool. And here are all of Deadpool's accessories. Obviously, in this lot, he has the most accessories because it's Deadpool. You know, this little knife, his two katanas, obviously, his splayed out hands that I had on him in the opening. You have grippy hands, fists, futuristic blasters, which I will get into later, and some trigger holding hands. What's weird with the hands are they're all brand new sculpt because obviously, but what's weird is that the grip holding hands for like the swords, the grip holding hands have silver on them, but the open hands and the fisted hands don't. Now, you say you didn't mention the trigger hands. That's because they also have silver on them. So I don't know if they couldn't afford silver on the other hand, on the splayed out hands and the fists, because all the brand new sculpt. I don't know if mine has a defect. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. I haven't watched any other reviews on this because I wanted to have a open, fresh mind on this 2-pack. So, basically, I don't know what happened, but, you know, that's easy. You could just go in there with Sharpie or paint or something and just paint those lines like you see in the movies, so that doesn't really bother me. Other than that, they're pretty stereotypical. You put the katana in the hands, and speaking of the katana, it's done in silver. It's very short. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just used to comic book Deadpool's katanas being a bit longer, but these katanas are pretty short, to be honest. But they just do slide in, and the knife, this handle is pretty thin, so I didn't expect it to fit as well as it does, but it fits pretty snug. You can't really get it out with just forcing it, so you have to just pull it out. And of course, all of these blade weapons do have places. There is the knife sheath in the ankle, and then on the back you have the sword sheaths. Just regular Deadpool stuff. You just put them in there and boom, bada bing, bada boom. But speaking on the guns, what I do is I give these to G.I. Joe Classified Roadblock, and what people have been pointing out online is that the guns weren't sculpted, or they were sculpted, but they weren't part of the sculpt for the holsters. So what you can do, I went in there with an X-Acto knife and just cut the plastic and kind of tore them out of there. And they look pretty fine, besides a little rippage in the, right here. Besides a little, maybe not on this one, huh. But, besides a little warpage on the triggers, they're perfectly fine, and this one has a little scuff from where I messed up, and this one is also the one with the broken trigger. But you can just slice them out. It's pretty easy, and there you have the actual good-looking, realistic guns for your good-looking movie Deadpool. And here are Negasonic's accessories. You have the little blast effects. I think these came with Scarlet Witch, and then a couple of figures after that, but I can't remember what other figures. but they look pretty good. One is slightly more opaque than the other. This one's kind of more transparent and better, but this one kind of looks like a fruit gummy. So, I don't know what happened there, but I don't really mind. They work fine for her powers, I guess. And then you have her splayed out hands, which you might see on this one. This one's a little warped, but that's because I saw on Instagram that you can actually kind of try and warp the fingers down to get a middle finger. So that's really nice. Of course, you would want that for a Negasonic Teenage Warhead figure. So I've been trying to do that every so often, so they kind of warp into place, and that's why the fingers are warped. And then for the regular splayed out hand that I haven't done anything with, you could see it's just pretty much just a regular hand sculpt with glove and some yellow, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Then you have some small fists with paint and yellow and the glove. That's pretty much it for Negasonic's accessories. Now, let's get into Negasonic herself. So, taking a look at Negasonic Teenage Warhead first, we can see that she does have a lot of reuse, actually, from the teenage female body sculpt, or body mold. The only one that, besides this, that I've had experience with is the Gwenpool figure, but you can see that the legs are reuse, no brand new sculpt, and then up to the torso is reuse, the belt is a new sculpt, the torso is a new sculpt, I think the arms are an all-new sculpt, and of course the head is a new sculpt. So, yeah, this figure does have mostly reuse. I'd say about I have no idea, 60% reuse, because you also can just kind of tell that this figure was an afterthought. Obviously, Deadpool, they spent all their money on making the Deadpool, so this figure is kind of lackluster in a lot of areas, but yet again, for longtime collectors, it will feel pretty normal and pretty familiar by this point. So, taking a look at her face sculpt first, or her detail, you can see that she has the black lipstick right here, the one earring on one side of the ear, the shaved sides, and then the kind of mohawk in the middle, I guess you could call it. You can see the face printing tech. They kind of messed up on my eyes. It's kind of looking off to the up and to the left, right. And then this one's kind of looking up and forward, so yeah, that kind of sucks, but it pretty much does look like Negasonic from the movies. You have the flesh tone at the neck, and then you do have that classic hinge joint at the neck, which we'll get to in a second with Deadpool. And then you have these nice gunmetal gray shoulder pads. I don't actually know if these are reused, but I think they're new. Just gunmetal gray, to the wrinkles on the arm, down to this kind of line detail underneath the forearm. And then on the other side, that line detail carries on with a little bit of split in the middle. And then for the hand, we already went over the hands. And for the torso, that's yellow with the X symbol and kind of the zipper up here, kind of like a jacket, I guess. And you have some nice leathery detail on the back right there. Then it all smooths out down here because this is a comic book body. You have the brand new sculpted belt. You have the kind of silhouette of abs and a belly button right there. You have the legs with the yellow coming across from the ass to almost to the knee. Then with the knee, you have some skinny legs, some regular comic book female feet, and that is pretty much it for Negasonic's detail. I know, kind of lackluster, but I mean, it was pretty much probably an afterthought. I would have preferred Deadpool to come with either Cable or Colossus, but whatever. It's whatever. Now, for her articulation. As previously mentioned, you have a hinge joint up at the neck, and then she can look down about that far, and a little bit of tilt, and a little bit of chicken head. Oop, 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 oop. Little bit of chicken head. Shoulders can go up about that far, down about that far. Full 360. Bicep rotation, single joint. Wrist rotation, hinge joint at the wrist. Diaphragm joint, side to side, back, no waist swivel. Leg can kick only up about that far, back about that far. Thigh swivel, doubly jointed knees. Then you have a calf rotation, and up, down, and beautiful ankle pivot at the legs. So, obviously, you can get this figure into some pretty good poses. Overall, I think she's pretty good. I'll go over the final rating and size comparisons after I go over Deadpool. So, without further ado, let's get into Deadpool. Oh, there he goes. And obviously, it's no big surprise that Deadpool is obviously the one that you're going to want to buy the set for. He is amazing in almost every aspect. There's only a couple of gripes, like the hands and the guns. And then on mine, for some reason I keep cutting the plastic into itself when I'm trying to pose it, so that's very annoying. And some of the design, like for me at least, I think the legs are too long. It doesn't really show up in camera to me, but in person, I think the legs are a little bit too long, and I think that the swords are too short, but that's just minor shit. Minor shit. And I think this is one of the best Deadpools, if not the best Deadpool, you could buy for any display. Marvel or MCU, Fox, comic book, if you do a mix of both, or every one like I do. So, without further ado, let's just get into his detail. His wonderful detail, may I add. So here we have him all up in the spotlight. You can see his trademark mask with the white eyes. I was about to say yellow, with the black circle, it's more of like a triangle orgied with more triangles. And then you have the sharpness right here, right above the eyes, following up into the mask lines, going back into his little signature Deadpool droop. And then you have the very nice kind of basketball-y texture on the whole entire suit, actually. It looks very good. And then you have those lines continuing down to the bottom of his head. And then you have his collar, his neck, which is a separate piece to the body, which is odd because it doesn't allow for articulation at all. I don't know why they made the neck a separate piece. And then you have down here, you have the nice armored kind of plating in his suit, the dents and all the scratches right there too. Right here is the black and some wrinkles. And then another gripe is that on mine, the seam is red throughout. They didn't bother painting the seam black. So it's only like that on this side, and I just noticed it doing this review. So, yeah. There is some scuffs, and I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's accurate to the movie at all. That little stain, I don't know. I haven't gotten it off, so... And black is kind of rubbing off here, but that's fine. I don't really care. It's not that noticeable. Have some silver. Have some pouches kind of things up here. Then you have his sash coming down with silver on it. To the buckle with the Deadpool logo. All these pouches, just like Rob Liefeld would want. Right up Main Street. You have his crotch. Black down on the thighs. Down on the thighs, carrying on to the gun holsters. And then some costume lines going down through his legs. From his hips to his thighs, through his legs. armored plating on his calves, then his shoe with some armor on the foot. Yeah, I don't know why it's not on the toes. Don't ask me, that's the movie design anyway. So, yeah, overall, his detail is absolutely stunning. You even have the shoulder pad detail right here, and then more of that nice costume detail coming down here to the wrist bands, and yeah, overall, just a fantastic, utterly fantastic looking piece. Now, for his articulation, he does have that goddamn dumbbell at the neck going into the head, so he cannot look up that far, and he cannot look down very much. But hell, he can do a shit ton of tilt, which I would take up and down over tilt any day. I would. I truly would. But I explained more of that in the Wolverine review. You can see his arms go all the way around. He does have a butterfly joint about that far. Up about that far. Down, that's a little tight, but it goes down about that far. Bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows go all the way up, which is really nice. On this hand, it does go for side to side and all the way around, but on the gun hand, it does have the disc hinge. They're both disc hinges, but the roll of the dice, you can crunch him about that far forward, about that far. His katana's getting in the way, but you can crunch him about that far back. By this really ratchety swivel here for his waist. I don't know why they ratcheted it, but don't ask me. Legs can kick up about that far, back about that far. Beautiful spread. Thigh swivel. Double jointed knees, and he can kick his own ass. He does not have the calf rotation, but he can kick, or his foot can kick up about that far, down about that far, and he does have ankle pivot. Obviously, with that amount of articulation, you can get him into some really, really nice poses, especially with the accessories, and I actually forgot one that I put right here. Let me know if you guys even spotted it, or even forgot about it when I was talking about the accessories. We have his little J.O. unicorn. Jack-off unicorn. Obviously, in the first movie, he uses this to pleasure himself, and it has some nice white, gold, baby blue for the eyes. It just makes me feel bad for this poor thing, knowing what's going to happen every time. It doesn't have, at least I don't think it has a blue wash, but I could be wrong. It does kind of look shaded in some places, but that just could be natural light and everything, so I don't know. This thing's pretty cool. You could see some stitching across it and everything. The hair flows, and yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. I totally forgot that it was up there, but yeah, you can also have him hold it like to his body, like so. And if you have Captain Boomerang from the Suicide Squad movie, I guess you could use it for that, but who the fuck would want to use a Deadpool accessory for one of the world's shittiest movies ever? I don't know. Mad Men would do that. Anyway, without further ado, let's get size comparisons and wrap this thing up. Here they are next to my other 20th Century Fox X-Men Marvel Legends figure I have. The tank top Wolverine from X2, I think. I'm not sure. I will leave a link in the description to his review. And here they are next to some G.I. Joe Classified figures. We have the G.I. Joe Classified, or the recently reviewed G.I. Joe Classified Cobra Commander and Destro, and in the middle here we have Roadblock. And, of course, none of my 6-inch figure reviews would be complete without Mando and the Child, and my last review, Studio Series Blitzwing. Now, of course, who do you think my favorite is out of the set? Of course I would pick Negasonic. Of course. Why would... Of course it's Deadpool. On a serious note, of course it's Deadpool. He is the most articulated, he has the best detail, he has the most accessories, and the reason because Negasonic has so much reuse is because of Deadpool. It's because they sculpted a whole entire brand new sculpt for him, and it really does show in the articulation, in the paint. The paint on mine is very good. It's very, very good. Besides some few very, very minor nitpicks, Deadpool is easily the best out of the set. Now, I'd have to say he's top 10 of this year. Top 10 of this year. He is just so amazing. He does use the pinless technology on the arms, but not the legs, which is odd. But other than that, that's pretty much all of my gripes, is the katanas, and they're only small little gripes that I could fix, you know? So, I really would recommend him, and for Negasonic, I'd have to say, she's good if you want to have the Deadpool crew, or if you want to fill out your X-Men, but other than that, you're going to be buying it for Deadpool, and obviously it's Deadpool's job to make you want to buy this. But she's good. I don't knock it till you get her. So, yeah, I'd have to give her a easy 6 out of 10 just because I have the body. Some of the paint apps are kind of sloppy on mine. And she's kind of small and finicky, and I don't really like small and finicky figures. And then for Deadpool, I'd have to give him a solid 30 out of 10. I have to say it's a 30 out of 10 because he's so good, he's so articulated, he comes with so much stuff. Just pick him up if you have the chance. Please, for the love of God, pick him up. Anyway, guys, if you liked the review, like it, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you never, ever miss one of my uploads. I have a Twitter, SkywarpRules1986. I have an Instagram, Skywarp_rules_1986. And I have a Reddit, u/Skywarp_rules_1986. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed. Peace.